Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today it's just a quick one today, another words of encouragement, just chiming in all across this weekend to give my thoughts on a new thing that's kind of coming to my head today. Today what I want to briefly talk about is the value of taking a day off. Now that's something that I can admit I'm very very bad at. I never really give myself to do, and when I really do try and take a day off, there's always something that ends up being done. Even today, I can say there are things, very productive things that I've done, even if it's half an hour's worth that I have done today. It's very rare that I get a true day off where I just lounge about and seriously do nothing. But today was certainly one of those days where I did very little, and that's okay, because what I want to really elaborate on is the feeling of what it's like to take that day off, particularly around what is sacrificed. For example, like I've got a very structured schedule, and there is X, Y, and Z of things that need to be done throughout the day, and you get to a certain point at the end of the week, which I'm finding is at the end of a Monday to Friday setup, you get on Saturday morning, and I feel far less motivated in a home environment to carry out what has been structured in for the day across Saturday and Sunday, particularly Sunday usually, but this week it hit on a Saturday. Today has just been, even though I had plans and things to do and I even want to go out the house, there's just sometimes you just got a bit of a gorge when it comes to energy, and when it completely depletes and you hit burnout, which is something that I spoke about a couple of videos ago, in terms of from a student perspective. It's not pretty, and you kind of just completely shut down, and you need a reset. Those resets are okay, and when I say that, I mean that I think actually days off should be scheduled. If you're a lot like me, rather than leaving it as almost a last resort, which is what today kind of panned out like. Usually, I find that I just completely grind and I consistently work and things like that, and then I find that usually between every 2 and 3 weeks, there's one day that's pretty bad, and I end up just being a bit slumped because I work so hard on all the other days, and I end up having to then catch up in future days. It's a system that's not the healthiest, and it doesn't always work. So my words of encouragement on this would very much be to take a day off, one that's structured, that's very much in your timetable, and if you can sort of prevent it leading up to that day off when you know it's coming in like 5 days time, for example, try and put as less things as possible in that day off calendar. More, maybe like literally 2 to 3 errands that you can do within an hour on the morning maybe, and then just stay in the house for the rest of the day. Or the flat, or wherever it is, if it's students I'm talking to, wherever it is you're staying, tackle the jobs very early in the morning and then stop when you've got the energy. Get them out of the way quickly, because I know that it's very all well and good me sitting here saying that you can do these things and get them out of the way, but keep the jobs to a minimum, or even just say there's no jobs at all on this day off. But that's not how life works, especially adult life and student life, and there is always that one thing that needs doing, always. So just keep the list to a minimum and attack it heavily, very much so, as early as possible in the day, and after that just relax and do something that you enjoy doing, and really try and separate it from any work that you're attached to. It's good to do certain things that the hobbies that have nothing to do with work, which is something that I'm very guilty of, because I've kind of taken most things in life that I enjoy in the past few years, and I've dissolved them somehow into the network in some kind of format or medium. I've got very little to actually show for myself outside of the network that I treat as a genuine hobby that's got nothing to do with it. I've kind of made everything somehow a part of it in the last few years, which is very much a problem I've got, which I'll try and work on as the years go by. But yeah, that's in terms of taking a day off, I cannot stress enough the importance of it, and how much I encourage it to just every so often, if you can afford to, just slump. It's okay to do that. It doesn't mean you're lazy, it doesn't mean you're worthless. It means that you're recharging, because you need that energy for a later day. And yes, people take the lend a lot of the time with those days off, but if you're like me, those days off are valuable. They're not lazy, they are very valuable, and they are very valuable tokens, golden doubloons, if you will, that need to be spent very wisely. And if you can time it right and do it at the right time, it's very refreshing, and I think it will serve you well, or at least it serves me well when it's done right. Well, that's all for today, folks. Be kind, do your best, and always remember, you are enough. See you next time, guys.